Welcome to Kicking It with Sensei, and this week we're joined by Emmy-nominated actor, author, speaker, comedian, producer, and Karate's BadBoy, Sean Kanan. There's very little you could add to that list, really, Sean.
Ask my wife; she's probably got a couple of things to add to it.
Excellent. So you've actually been a martial artist for a very long time. Would you like to give the audience a little background into your martial arts training?
Sure. So when I was about 14, 15 years old, I stepped into a Shotokan dojo in my hometown, and I really fell in love with it. I trained in Shotokan karate for a couple of years. My school actually became a part of the Japan Karate Federation under Sensei Fumio Demura, who coincidentally was Pat Morita's stunt double in all of the Karate Kid films.
Yeah.
So that wound up being very important in my life years later. Over the years, I've studied kind of a smattering of different styles. I've trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a little while, even did a little Krav Maga and American kickboxing. Excellent. And now I'm training in Filipino stick and knife fighting with Daryl Vidal, who was in the Karate Kid.
Excellent, excellent. I've actually seen quite a lot of his stick fighting. I've no William Christopher Ford does a series now, 52 Masters, and he done it with Vidal now. And
yeah, his show 52. It's funny you say William Christopher Ford. I'm actually doing a charity event with him via Zoom in a couple hours after I'm done here with you. So
yeah, I had him on a few weeks ago now. So yeah, excellent. And so you're best known for being Mike Barnes in the Karate Kid 3, but how did you find that? How did you get in?
I moved out to Los Angeles to pursue my career in acting and to finish my political science degree at UCLA. And Sensei Demura, who knew that I was pursuing my acting career, said, "Listen, Sean, they're going to be doing an open call for the new villain in the new Karate Kid film." He said, "I think you ought to try out for it." And I tried to get an audition for it, and I had done some work. I had my Screen Actors Guild card. I had done a couple of guest stars on network TV, nothing big. And the casting director wouldn't see me. And so you have to go basically show up at the studio and wait in line with everybody else, which I did the next day. There must have been 1,500 people there. And, John Avildsen, who had won the Academy Award for Rocky and who had directed the first two Karate Kid films, was making his way up this long line of hopefuls, intermittently stopping to, talk with somebody, have them do like a little improv. And I knew I had maybe a couple seconds to get this guy's attention. And I was able to do that and did a quick improv with him. And he said, "Okay, I buy that." And he sent me inside to the soundstage. And it was like a three-ring circus, man. I mean, there were all these media outlets. And then there was a stage they had built for a scene, and there's Ralph Macchio, and I had to go do a scene with him. And I did the scene, and I thought I did pretty well. And they wound up actually hiring someone else for the part, and they worked him for about a week and realized it wasn't working out, and they called me back, and I got the role. Yeah,
it must have been very surreal actually auditioning for it. Following the success of the first two movies, now you knew what to expect.
Yeah, well, you're spot on, because first of all, as a little kid, I knew Pat Morita from Happy Days. He was Arnold to me before he was Mr. Miyagi. And then, I was a guy that bought a ticket to go see the Karate Kid and the Karate Kid 2. I was in the audience, and now suddenly I'm at the studio filming with these guys. So yeah, it was definitely it was a surreal experience, to say the least.
Yeah. And do you think your karate helped you get a part in the film? Do you think it played a major part?
Definitely. I don't think, had I not had some really strong basics in the martial arts, that I would have gotten it, because there's so much to do on a big movie like that, that to have to teach somebody from the basement up how to look like they're a black belt, it just would have taken them too long. And then there's always the chance that the guy couldn't have done it. And so, I think that was definitely a prerequisite, that they needed somebody who, had at least a strong, foundation.
Excellent. And do you think the Mike Barnes character will be resurrected for Cobra Kai? I know it's the question everybody's been asking. So.
Yeah, that's the question that I get everywhere. Well, listen, we had a glimpse of Mike Barnes in season 3, in a flashback with Daniel, and I can neither confirm nor deny. All I can say is we shall see and keep the faith. I don't believe we've seen the last of Mike Barnes. That's all I can say.
Excellent. And what do you think has happened, Mike Barnes, over the last 30 years now? There's a lot of theories around it, but what would
That's
be
an
your
interesting
theory?
question. I get that question a lot. I always postulate that the guy was only 17 years old. And so there's not too many individuals that aren't in prison that couldn't be redeemed at 17. You know what I mean? So I like to think that maybe, he got straightened out. Maybe he went into the military, became an officer, and, learned about honor and commitment and all that sort of stuff that he definitely was lacking. Or maybe he just continued down the path he was on and wound up in prison. Maybe he became like an MMA fighter. I don't know. I got a really funny response from some fans. They said, what if Daniel and Johnny were mandated to go to by the court to go to an anger management counselor, and the anger management counselor was Mike Barnes?
Unbelievable. Now, I actually watched the Karate Kid 3 back recently. Now, just before I had William on the show, and I was trying to convince my brother and my wife that Mike Barnes wasn't actually a bad guy.
Yeah,
he was always my favorite character when I was younger.
Well, thank you.
He was just.
I'm just curious, why didn't you think he was a bad guy?
If you watch his negotiation skills with Terry Silver, and then he just seemed like a guy that didn't take no for an answer, someone that would push for success throughout life. So I always thought he'd probably end up very successful because he wouldn't take no for an answer. And it was, but
I like that. I like that look on Mike. Yeah, maybe he really wasn't such a bad guy. He was just extremely motivated and knew what he wanted, right?
That's it now. And I know you have a new book coming out too, Way of the Cobra. And could we get a wee bit of insight into that and how that comes out?
I'm excited about this. I have a new book coming out called Way of the Cobra. And the way the book is structured is that I am the sensei and you are coming to my dojo, the dojo of life, of Cobra life. Okay. And Cobra is an acronym comprised of the words character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. And these are the strategies that I have used in my life, the philosophy I've employed in my life that has allowed me to achieve some of my success. I was at a point a couple of years ago where I think, like a lot of people, I had some successes, I had some epic failures, and I was looking in the mirror and I was saying, okay, what's next? And I was in a position where I was like 30 pounds overweight. I didn't have any prospects for work, and I needed to start doing some stuff very differently. And I decided that rather than wait for my ship to come in, I was going to build the damn ship. And I started doing some things very differently, like I said. And in 1 year, I co-authored an Amazon new release best-selling book. I created an Amazon Prime Emmy award-winning television series, and I lost 35 pounds. And I don't say that to impress people, but I say it to impress upon them what is possible. And so a lot of the book deals with getting really clear on what your success is. And when I say your success, everybody has their own individual definition of success. You have to be clear on what your success is, because if not, you don't know where you're heading. And I say that success is not, the bloated Instagram feed of some obnoxious celebrity and all of their toys. It's not the airbrushed magazine covers of supermodels, and it's not the commercials, that we're fed, around the clock like zombies telling us what success should look like. You have to define what success is for you. And while you and I sitting here may have certain ideas of what success is that are common denominators, like, you want to be able to provide for your family, you want to be, happy with what you're doing in a career. There are also some things that might be necessary for you to feel successful that aren't for me. So you got to get clear in your success. I then talk about clarifying your why. And your why is that driving force that's going to allow you to achieve that success. What is that thing that is going to pick you up off the ground when you've had your ass kicked, and it's going to allow you to keep going? What is that driving force inside of you that is going to allow you to fight to silence the haters and the people who say you can't do it. And unfortunately, a lot of the times those voices are coming from inside your head. So I talk a lot about silencing the inner critic and really just getting clear with what your goals are and what are the potential obstacles standing in the way of your goals and what are the actions you need to take to achieve them. And interspersed throughout the book, I talk about a lot of stories from my life. And I do talk about, how I got the role of Mike Barnes and how I almost lost it and how I almost died during the filming and how I was able to ultimately finish the movie and do all of my stunts. And it's because of a lot of the philosophy and strategies that I illuminate in the book. So I really hope everybody will take a chance and check it out. It's at wayofthecobra.com. We absolutely ship to Ireland. And, I believe in this book with all my heart.
Excellent. I have my copy ordered and all. But
thanks.
I know this isn't your first time writing a book either. I know you've read Success Factor X a few years back, about 2019. Do you find, I know there was a lot of different celebrities and that compiled that together kind of thing, their different stories on success. Do you think that kind of worked as research towards this book, and do you think that played a part in it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everything that we do leads to the next thing. There were so many people in Success Factor X that were inspiring, incredible achievers that I couldn't help but be inspired by it. The reason this book is so special to me is, this book is not a book where there are other people in the book offering their philosophies. This is me putting putting it out there myself, sink or swim. And, this is a very personal book for me. I share a lot of stuff about not only my successes, but a lot of my failures. And in doing that, I hope people can see that, they may look at me and say, wow, there's a really successful guy. He's done this, this, and this, but you don't know all the times that I fell on my face to get there. And I think it's important that people know that, that it's, I'm not the kind of guy that just got up to the plate and smacked a home run my first time up to bat. There were a lot of times when I struck out and got hit by a couple of pitches.
Yeah, excellent. And you've done so much in your career now. I know you've got the Studio City on Prime Video.
Yeah.
And, what pushed you in that direction? I know you were involved in soaps before that, but what sort of set you in the path of producing yourself?
Yeah, so for everyone watching in Ireland, I have an Emmy award-winning show I created on Amazon Prime. Unfortunately, right now it's only available in the United States, but we are working diligently to bring it to everybody, and we will be doing that sometime in the next year. What pushed me to do it? I've always been interested in writing. My father is a multi-times published author, I think when I got into acting, I did it because I wanted a way to express myself. And as I've gotten older, what I realized is that I got into acting because I want to inspire people. And as I've gotten a little older, I've realized that acting isn't the only way that I can inspire people. That I can do it with my writing and my personal coaching and my speaking. So I've been writing for a while. As an actor, unless you're Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, you're pretty much, another guy or gal waiting around for somebody to hire you. And I don't like that feeling of relying on somebody else to determine my destiny. And so I decided I was going to create this show. They say, write what you know. I've worked in daytime television off and on for 3 decades. So I know what it's like. Let me explain what the show's about really quickly. It's about a guy who is an aging soap star. He stars on the #2 soap opera in the world. And, you look at him initially and he seems like he's got the world by the tail, but very quickly you learn that he's fighting to keep his job because he's no longer, the young, super good looking guy on the show. They've brought on another younger guy that's kind of nipping at his heels. He's got all sorts of turmoil in his family. He's got all sorts of problems that I think a lot of people can relate to. And the show's intermittently very funny and it's very poignant, and it's gotten a great response. And the character is, he's very close to kind of who I am, albeit a little maybe less evolved. He's the guy trying to figure it out, and he means well, but he just seems to always be, sticking his foot in it.
Yeah. Excellent. And I know you've actually got family members involved in the show as well. I know Michelle, your wife, would be a writer on the show. And Juliet, your daughter, actually starred in it as well.
Yeah, my wife is one of the producers and writers, and my stepdaughter Juliet plays one of the central characters on it, and so it is a bit of a family affair. Yeah.
Excellent. And I know you do a lot of martial arts, but is there any martial arts in particular that you haven't tried in the past that you would like to try in the future, maybe? And
are there any martial arts that I haven't tried that I would like to try? Well, there's so many amazing, diverse martial arts. Something I did when I was a kid, and I didn't take it seriously, but I see the absolute value in it now, is, American collegiate wrestling. I mean, I think American collegiate wrestling is something that really has become one of the 3 or 4 pillars necessary to be a well-rounded fighter in the MMA. That's something that I think would be interesting. I mean, at 54, I don't know that I'm going to be engaging, but I've started training again with an amazing martial artist from Northern California. His name is Adam McKinley. And I discovered Adam on Instagram, and we started communicating on Instagram, and from there it went to texting, and then we got on the phone together, and he invited me to come up and train with him. And so I actually just got back about a month ago from training with him in Northern California, and it was an amazing experience. It went really well, and really served to reignite my love for martial arts. And so I'm going to be going up every 8 weeks and training with him at his place. And I can't right now do a lot of the stuff that I really could do when I was in my 20s, but I believe that with time and with hard work, I'm going to be able to kind of get back to there. But for me, it's, martial arts has never just been about the physical. It's always been about embodying some really important qualities. There's someone who's a really good martial artist and a great representative of what the arts are, is someone of honor, someone who, acts with integrity, that shows others respect, that there's a lot of really wonderful, good qualities, I think, that goes with being a martial artist. And that's something that I've always tried to embody. And now, if I'm able to recapture some of the physicality of it, that's going to be icing on the cake.
Excellent. Now, I know you do get to a certain age where you're just not fit anymore. I used to box when I was younger.
Yeah.
I went to try and take up amateur boxing there about 3 years ago. And the day I walked into the gym, they said, "You're too old to compete. We only license you up to 35. So it was kind of disheartening to find out that I was classed as too old to compete.
Yeah, well, I'm 54, so imagine how I feel.
That's it. And do you feel the martial arts has given you a lot of sort of life skills that have helped you in your career?
I do. I think one of the biggest skills that it's given me, and I like to think that I still carry this with me, is a sense of humility. And obviously there's a very big difference between humiliation and humility. We know the difference between those words. But I feel like it's given me that. I feel like it's very important to be teachable. My acting teacher and my martial arts teacher said, I can teach anybody as long as they're teachable. Well, that sounds like something that's very a simple concept, but there are people in life that are not teachable. They're not willing to be open to a message because they're too busy trying to get you to understand where they're coming from. And so I think that that's something I've learned from the martial arts, is to be able to hopefully be a little bit of a better listener, to be more accessible. But yeah, martial arts is something that I've always carried with me. And, it's funny. I'm going back to my hometown in Pennsylvania in June for a memorial banquet and tournament for my sensei who passed away. and they just asked me if I would teach a seminar there. And I was like, teach a seminar? I don't know. I haven't done it for a long time. And I started thinking to myself, listen, yes, of course you're going to teach the seminar. Of course you need to do that. If for no other reason than, it's a challenge you need to accept, and it's going to push me. And so I'm really excited about that, because I've always liked working with, other martial artists, younger kids, and hopefully I've got something that I'm going to be able to pass on to them. And in doing that, probably learn something myself.
Excellent. And I know you're a big advocate of anti-bullying, and you do a lot of support for charity. And so would you like to mention the charity that you work with?
Sure. Thank you. I'm one of the international youth ambassadors for Buddha Bullying, which is, it's an international charity. What we do is go to schools, elementary schools, high schools, and facilitate a dialogue with these kids. And I'll tell you, one of the great byproducts of having played Mike Barnes that I never could have anticipated was that when I go to these schools and talk to these kids, I always play that iconic scene of Mike Barnes terrorizing Daniel at the All Valley tournament on the mat. And the kids, of course, they like to watch it. And I say, now, would you believe that scary guy used to get bullied himself? And they're like, what? And I said, yeah, when I was a kid, I used to get bullied myself. And it allows me kind of like a very small window to be able to connect with these kids. And by going through that window and connecting with them, I'm then able to open up this dialogue and talk about bullying. And, it's such it is a pandemic. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, now with cyberbullying and social, kids are getting bullied 24 hours a day. With the stroke of, one key, people are getting bullied to their entire school. And unfortunately, I don't know how it is in Ireland, but in the United States, suicide is the fourth leading cause of death among adolescents, and bullying is a tremendous contributing factor to that. So I take it very seriously, and I'm very honored to be able to, to be an advocate for anti-bullying.
Excellent. And finally, as a Cobra Kai from the original films and that, would you find yourself personally being more on the Cobra Kai camp or the Miyagi-Do camp?
Come on, take a guess.
I have to ask every guest.
Cobra Kai for life.
Finally. I've asked about 40 guests that same question, and I've only ever had one person go for Cobra Kai, but besides myself. And I keep saying Sean Kanan's coming on the show. He'll have our back. But excellent. And it was a pleasure speaking with you today, Sean. And
thank you, Sensei. I really appreciate it. It's an honor. And like I said, I'm hoping to come to Ireland sometime in the next year. I have such an affinity for the Irish people. They are, so warm and kind of honest, and what you see is what you get. I grew up with a lot of Irish kids in my hometown, and it would be an honor to come and check out the Emerald Isle. I would love to. Once again, if you'd like to check out my book, please take a look at it. It's wayofthecobra.com. And if you'd like to follow me, keep up with what I'm doing, you can follow me at Instagram. It's Sean.Kanan, or at Sean Kanan on Twitter.
Excellent. I'll put links in the description of the video for all that. Excellent.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much again, Sean.
Listen, I want to wish you all the best. I hope you and your family stay safe, and please don't be a stranger. Let me know when it comes out, and if I can help you promote it, I'm happy to do that. Okay.
Excellent. And